Good morning, Alex. It's August 17th, and I just pulled my first all-nighter. Today, I'm going to be doing an animated movie review of a movie that I think is one of the best movies that I have ever seen.
Hello, my name is Vicus, and I've got a funny accent. I'm also kind of a douchebag. Okay, you just sign here and we'll take you home away.
Tricksy little humansies.
Oh, what, this stuff? This stuff I'm confiscating from the aliens? No, it can't possibly be dangerous. This video contains no spoilers, and therefore it would be very dangerous for me to show you anymore. Plus, it's very hard to make fun of movies that you really like.
Oh yeah, baby, you came to see a science fiction movie, and that's what you're gonna get. 20 minutes in a Mac.
Apartheid meets Peter Lord of the Ring Jackson in this non-stop science fiction thrill ride that explores what it really means to be human. I came up with that one myself. Basically, this unknown director, Neil Blomkamp, was selected to help Peter Jackson in directing the Halo movie, and Peter Jackson was going to produce it. After the Halo movie fell through for them, Peter Jackson says, okay, we already have this awesome crew, so let's make a different movie. And so they selected Neil Blomkamp's short film, Alive in Joburg, which you can actually see on YouTube. It's about 6 minutes long. Here's the scenario. 20 years ago, aliens came to Earth. Their ship has been hovering over the city of Johannesburg, South Africa since then. People went inside the spaceship after the spaceship had spent several months just hovering there, not moving, and they found thousands of aliens inside, starving. They made the aliens a temporary refugee camp, which has, over the past 20 years, quickly become a slum and the permanent residence of the aliens. The story begins when the government agency that has been set up to study the aliens, the MNU, decides to relocate the aliens to a more permanent residence, which is basically a Nazi camp kind of a situation. A young pencil pusher for the MNU, Vicus, played by Shada Copley, another unknown, is sent by the MNU to give the aliens their 24 hours notice. This is where the story begins. Ta-da! It's a day later. I've gotten some sleep. I guess you can punish me if you want. Now to the actual review part. This movie was so fresh. A lot of people have compared the feel of this movie to a cross between Blair Witch Project and Children of Men. The first and last parts of the movie are done in documentary fashion. The middle is parts that the people shooting the documentary do not know about, and so it's done in a more cinematic kind of way. But throughout, it has all these different camera angles, like people with handheld video cameras. It has security cameras. A lot of the reviews that I've seen of people walking out of the theater say, like, that movie really didn't have the greatest special effects, but it really had absolutely amazing special effects. After a while, you forget that you're watching a movie because it is done so convincingly. A lot of the angles have really low resolution, and the UFOs are in there with them, but there are some scenes when in the more cinematic places where I'm looking at the screen and I'm like, I cannot believe what I'm seeing. The way it's done, the human actors, the alien actors, they interact absolutely so much. I was particularly impressed with the character development in this movie. The character of Vicus starts out as, he's kind of an insensitive yet well-meaning nerd, but then as he goes along and he's more immersed in the aliens and he sees what terrible conditions they live in, to reconcile himself with that, he becomes kind of a jerk. And then, later, when he realizes something happens, I'm not going to give you a big spoiler, but something happens and the aliens are the only people that he's able to turn to. He makes a lot of bad choices, but in the end, we find out that he really is a good person and he makes the good choice. The movie ends with a rather bittersweet ending, not necessarily a setup for a sequel, and not entirely disappointing. It's just a lot of science fiction stories end with a question rather than an answer. Another fascinating thing about this movie for me was that the aliens are not powerful. There's the MNU, who are the government. There's the gang lords that have come into the aliens community and are selling them illegal substances and buying alien weapons. But the aliens themselves are a lower class than these second and third class African people living in slums of their own, but these aliens are just living in absolutely terrible conditions. In many ways, you end up rooting for the aliens. I'm going to give this movie a 10 out of 10. The way I see it, it has revolutionized science fiction. Just as simple as that. It's going to go down in my book as one of the great science fiction movies of all time. If you don't like science fiction, don't watch this movie. There's a lot of swearing, a lot of gore and blood and stuff, but it's never unnecessary, and it's never like repetitive. By the end of the movie, you're a little bit kind of wondering how they're going to blow up the next person. But it was definitely worth the movie ticket, and I'm hoping to eventually buy the DVD. So if you like science fiction and don't mind the R rating, then I definitely recommend you go see this movie. DFTDE.